Hey, this is Dr. Linda Davis, and today I want to work again through Learning Tableau 10 textbook. And on Chapter 2, they want you at some point to go into the starter files here. So I've double-clicked on that, Chapter 2 starter. And the part that's a little tricky here is like when you want to pull in a spreadsheet from maybe like Google Sheets. So we're going, and they have like a URL for you to enter in, and it's a very long URL, so it's much better just to copy and paste the URL into the appropriate section in Tableau. So let me go down to Tableau because I've already opened this up, so just double click on that so you can see which one I'm talking about here. And that's the starter set. So let me just show you this. The different tabs down here, this is kind of the finished one, but go down to connect to Google Sheets, click on that particular tab. And the one thing we need really just from here, because we're going to start with a blank Tableau sheet, is we're going to connect to this Google Sheets URL. So I just want to copy this and can just kind of probably edit caption, right click, edit caption, and I'm just going to start it from scratch, not have it like open up in this same sheet. I'm just going to backwards kind of highlight it there, and I'm just going to right click, copy it, or Control C, and then get out of this just by canceling, and then just go to my blank Tableau sheet that I already had going on in here. And let me work. Actually, it may probably just be easier to bring in a new one. So just hit File, New. So I can take you back to the very beginning. And we'll go into Connect to Data. So I've got a brand new Tableau sheet. Let me make that larger. Connect to Data. And here's your big list of everything it could possibly come from. And I'm going to go down to Google Sheets, because this is the example of how to do Google Sheets or connect to Google Sheets. And I may have it tied into my own Google Drive account, and I'll just select one, and it's going to ask you the same thing. So you do have to have a Gmail account, and I'll just give it the ability to, by clicking allow, I'll say no, and all it wanted to do is bring you up with this message. Tableau created this window to authenticate. It is now safe to close it. So that's just a little formality. Kind of want to go through there. And then I want to go back into my blank Tableau. And this is what comes up. This is just stuff I already had in my Google Drive. Okay, now if the Google Sheet you want is not here, like maybe it's not one of yours, it's a Google Sheet that's being shared with you, which is what's going on really in this Chapter 2 example. That's why I had you copy that URL, because up here where it says search by sheet name or enter URL, that's where you're going to paste that long URL that's given to you in your Chapter 2 documentation. Okay, so we will hit search after that. It will go find it. It will kind of put it in your Google Drive account. You could already see it was in my Google Drive account because I was practicing. And owned by Josh Milligan. He's the guy that wrote the book. And one more thing to do here is connect. So we're going to hit the green connect button. So hit connect. And give it a minute. And it's going to extract that sheet. And we have some further instructions on this one as well. So I'm on page 56 in your textbook. So we've hit the connect button. You should now see the data source screen, which we do. And we want to rename the data source as Superstore / Google Sheets. So I'm just going to go up here and rename it to be Superstore, and in parentheses I'll just put Google Sheets because this is our Google Sheets example, and hit enter. Lock that in. You see it changes it over here as well under connections, and if you want to rename that, rename that also Superstore Google Sheets. Okay, enter. Lock that in. Let that build. Now let's switch the connection option from live to extract. So there's live right now, but we want to say just extract from this as it is right now. Don't keep trying to update. Now the next step is connect to Google Sheets sheet. The data should be extracted within a few seconds. If that's what you want to call it down here, that's fine. But that's okay. We can just leave that alone for now. Our data source is still there. I've clicked on that and then go to sheet 1. That's where it's waiting for us to build something with this new information, okay, that we have just pulled from a Google Sheet. Now we're going to create a field map by profit, by state, with profit defining the color and the label here. So those are the last instructions on page 56. So let's do that, and then there'll be some formatting we got to do as well. I'm going to go to, obviously I need I need one dimension, I need the state, and then I need one measure, I need the profit measure right there. Okay, so there's the state measure in dimensions, and I'm going to double click on that. Boom, as you should remember, gives you your data based on what states are represented in the data source. And then we have profit involved in this. Now profit is defining the color and the label. Okay, so go down to profit and under measures by color. So drop it in color, and there's your profit variations from low to high based on, I think, the darker the color of the state, the higher the profit is. And then we also want to define it with the profit by label. So I'll get profit again, pop it into label, make sure that little plus is on there, and let that go. And when you do that, that actually gives you your profit amount showing in each state. Obviously it gets really tiny on these little states on the northeast coast, but they're outlined there for you and pointing at the appropriate geographic location. Now they do want us to format. I'm going to flip over because I can't, page 57, and going back on 58 they kind of add some more things to it as it relates to formatting. And they return to this same map, this same data, and it says right click on the profit field in the data pane. So I am in the data pane. Go down to profit, right click. Well, I don't know that it means the usual kind of thing when they say right click. It just basically go to the down arrow on the right side, and what you want to do is look for default properties, and there is default properties. And then it wants us to get to number format. So we'll go down to number format. And it tells us to select currency custom. So I'll go down and select currency custom. And this is one of those things where, you don't want all the decimal places showing. It's just profit. So take it down from 2 decimal places showing down to 0. How do you want your negative values to display? That one works for me with the parentheses. And then obviously your dollar sign should be in there if it's US currency. And I do like the 1,000 separators included. That's just your little comma when the numbers go over 999. And select OK on that. You can see that is monetary symbol gets put in there plus the thousand separator. And we also want to, if you want to change the color properties about, we can do that too. So we'll go down to profit again. And we'll again go to default properties. And this time we're not going to pick number format. This time we want to change the color. So you're going to select color. And if you don't like, light blue to dark blue with yellow being, negative profit basically. I kind of like to do, red and green, green is good and red's not so good. Or not very good. So I tend to like to go first versus automatic and change that. You got lots of choices here. I like red, green, diverging. And if you want more than 5 steps of stepped color, if you want 6 or 7, that's fine. You can change it there by checking that and then changing whatever you need to check. You can do it more like that, where it actually gives it a certain shade based on whatever range you set up. And then I'll just apply that. Say okay. All right. Now, I kind of wanted it to show red for those dates that have a negative profit showing. So let me go back in there again and check that out again. Let me go back to default properties and then color. And let me take it off stepped color. And let's try that again. Okay, that's what I want to see. Obviously, the darker green is higher profits, and as we get into lesser profits with the lighter shades of green, and then we get into somewhat a degree of reds. Tennessee obviously is negative in the profit area, and then Alabama is even a little bit more so. So that's why it's a bit more red in tone than Tennessee, with a negative profit as well. So that lets you see how that lays out. So that's working between page 58, 59 in your textbook. And I hope this has helped you add a few more tools to your toolbox in Tableau. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.